What if you could read minds? I know somebody who does the next best thing. One of the problems we face in PR is we don't always know for a fact what people are thinking when we implement our PR programs. I've worked with someone who takes the guessing game out of the equation. Lloyd is a professor at Carnegie Mellon University and also the University of Pittsburgh. He runs his own attitude research firm as well.
Smart data is a term that I'm using as a way to poke fun at the concept of big data. Of course, big data is important. You've got millions of records. These companies want to figure out, subtleties within a lot of complex information, which is fine. What I found is the other end. Most organizations need people that can, hey, analyze this little problem, summarize this survey for me, build a spreadsheet that makes sense that we can draw some conclusions from. What I found from teaching at Carnegie Mellon all these years and at Pitt and all of the clients I work on is so many people don't know how to do that. At Carnegie Mellon in particular, they're very, very good at analysis. That's a big chunk of what they teach. But they typically don't teach the front end, which is how do you take something out of the world and then get it into a format that you can analyze it. And in my world, that's called coding surveys or coding data. A lot of times that shows up to them already prepared, or here's a file already. But in a world that doesn't happen. So it's the process of what variables do we need, what do we need to measure, how do we think about it, and then packaging it in a way that you can actually, get a spreadsheet on it or run a program on it to get some sort of insight that says, hey, you should go left, right, or straight ahead.
So how does this work in the real world? Lloyd has done some work with some arts organizations.
So what is an example? Recently we were asked to help a local organization here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, assess whether a major motion picture theater, the kind that you'd see in the suburb, only really nice, high-end, fancy historic architecture, all of that, but they should take an old building that was 100 years ago a major motion picture theater and restore it and have first-run movies there. Well, that sounds like a great idea, but would anybody come? How far would they travel? Would they come here versus instead of going to the suburbs? These were all questions they had. So instead of guessing at that, we went out and ran 3 different surveys. Some of people live downtown, some that were members, they run all of the Broadway and other plays, some of their subscription, and then just the broader community at large to find out are they going to come or not come. We then package all of that, and of course they were very happy with the results because it seemed like from what we found, not only people would support it, people that typically didn't go to the movies were interested in it, so it might be a whole new market.
One of my favorite projects working with Lloyd was when we wanted to get Pittsburghers' ideas on a baseball-only ballpark. And we wanted to get related feedback on some logo ideas.
One of the coolest things is when I was growing up, I'd go out and visit my grandparents who lived in northwestern Kansas. And as we drive around, my granddad would tell me, hey, your uncle worked on that project, or your dad poured all the cement on the bottom of that grain elevator, 24-hour shift, or all of these wonderful things that influenced their town. When I drive around this town and other cities, we have some major projects we've worked on that are beautiful. Helping build the strategy for getting baseball-only ballparks and new stadiums in Pittsburgh. We worked on that some years ago. Pittsburgh Penguins, they wanted to change their logo. We did all the research, found out their old logos were way more popular, so we went back and now they're one of the first teams that went retro, and they've been doing very well with the logo that's very old actually. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Pirates, brought kids in, tested dozens and dozens of illustrations, and now we've got those. So what's cool about my favorite projects are driving around, seeing companies or things that we had a hand in help creating that are not for that week or that month or that year, but perhaps will be a generation or two and still be valuable and they're still working. That's pretty satisfying actually.